Hello guys, Lit here. So it's been a while since I get to play Reap again. So I'm just really happy right now. I can play with this skill again. And Reap is one of my favorite skill. I just think Reap as a concept for skill is just really cool. And in PoE1, Reap is very crunchy, very snappy, and it just feels very satisfying to use. At least for me. Reap also have a very good DPS, especially when you combine them with Awakened Spell Cascade Intensify. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So there is a reason why Reap is not popular. Number one is Reap is a spell, and most of the spell build these days is revolving around Energy Shield. And Reap costs life instead of mana, and that's become a problem because most of the time when you go Energy Shield, a lot of people go for CI, and that's basically going to make your life become 1 and you cannot cast Reap again. So Reap is just not viable for CI. And the second reason is also, in order for a Reap to really shine, you need Awakened Spell Cascade, and it's just not a cheap Awakened gem to get, and it's just not something you're going to get early on either. And that two restriction just basically put Reap into like a awkward positions. And I think there's not that many people want to solve that problems. But because I like it, I tried to solve it. And this build is still an energy blade build. I just tweak it a little bit so it fits Reaps. So yeah, let's just break down the build. The first one, let's talk about the Reap itself. So Reap is this skill over here. Without Awakened Spell Cascade, you're only going to cast one like this. But with Awakened Spell Cascade, you're going to spawn another Reap on like around the original target. It basically spawn 4 additional Reaps. And this basically allow you to hit a single target multiple times. As you can see, I'm targeting myself, and I basically hit myself 4 times, right? There's 4 overlap on me, and you basically just hit your enemy 4 times every single hit. So this is the reason why the Reap need Awakened Spell Cascade, because this is the reason why the Reap can have like a really high single target DPS. And combine this with Intensify. So what Intensify did is, normally it will give you a big AoE, but whenever you gain stage, like this is the stage of Intensify, and you basically gain stage every time you stand still and cast the spell. As long as you stand still, you're going to have the stage for Intensify. And the more stage you have, you're going to reduce the AoE, but it's also going to give you more damage. So this is like a support gem that good for clearing, but also single target. Because normally you're going to go around with like a big AoE like this, and then on a single target you can just stand still and just have a really high single target. So combination between Spell Cascade and Intensify is really strong for Reap. And for the Reap itself, Reap have a things called Blood Charge. So every time you hit an enemy and it's not die, you will gain a Blood Charge, and one Blood Charge is going to give you 20% more damage. And for Reap, going to give you +4 maximum Blood Charge. And it also going to give extra bonus 5 more percent DPS on the Blood Charge. So basically for Reap is just double your damage. But the downside of the Blood Charge is it also going to increase your life cost. Now, currently, the way I can cast this without having to worry about like life cost is via Eternal Youth. So Eternal Youth going to make your energy shield recharge now apply to life. And because when we get hit, the energy shield is the one that get hit. The life is not going to get hit, so the recharge is going to keep continuing even though if you're using it for skills. And that's the reason why you can see my life is keep going up. Now the problem with this is with Fall Reap, the life cost become really high. I think it's like 530 life per cast, and it's a really high number. And the Eternal Youth doesn't seem to be able to cover that much. So in my case, Vari probably not going to give double damage, but it's still a significant amount of DPS increase. And Eternal Youth does have a downside where it's going to reduce your life regens and it's going to reduce your maximum life recovery from Leech, which none of them affect us in any way because we convert the life regens to energy regen, so we don't have life regen anyway. And we also convert all the life leech into energy leech. So we also don't have life leech in the first place. So the downside of the Eternal Youth is just non-existent because we convert them into energy shield. And this is the portion that exclusive to Reap. So if you're not using Reap, you're not going to take this node over here. You can just connect them with here just to get the unnatural instinct here. And then you probably can like get another socket here and take this node over here with a recovery 5% energy shield. This is pretty good amount of recovery. And also there's a few new additions on the setup. The first one is Born by Destiny. This is going to give 15% increased intelligence. This is really strong. But we will need 2 Crusader item equipped. So the 2 Crusader item that I choose is Helmet and Shield. So for the helmet, this is a double influence, the Crusader and Hunter. So the Hunter is needed for the increased intelligence percentage on the suffixes, and the Crusader just for conditions of the Bound by Destiny. On the shield, the Crusader doesn't really do anything. It just to fulfill the conditions of the Bound by Destiny. So for the helmet, you're going to use Awakener Orb to basically combine the Hunter base with Crusader base. Just make sure that the last base you click is the base that you want to keep, because one of the base is going to get destroyed. And what I do is basically just spamming Essence of Spite until I get the increased intelligence. If I get the resistance, that's good, but most of the time you probably won't get them. If the third suffix is not something that you want, I will try to annul it off. And if you already have the annul slot open, that's nice. Basically, we can just craft suffixes cannot be changed. This is going to protect the intelligence and increase intelligence. And I'm going to reforge fire, lightning, or cold. These 3. It's really up to you which one it is. I usually just reforge lightning, and you pray that you get T1 or T2 resistance. If you don't get them, you have to annul it off. Prefix cannot be changed again and reforge again. And if you fail the annul, then you basically spam Essence of Spite again until you get the suffix done. And I think this one cost me like 700, I think, Spite. I get pretty unlucky though on the reforge, but it does cost me a lot of Essence of Spite. And for the prefix, you want to block with mana, and then you basically slam twice and you hope to get the energy shield. And if you do not get them, what you're going to do is to craft suffixes cannot be changed, and then you scour them. That's going to clean the prefix, and basically you craft mana again, and you slam twice again. You basically keep repeating that process until you get T1 energy shield, and you basically craft the last energy shield. And you can slam the last one if you feel bold, but if you fail that slam, you have to YOLO annul. And YOLO annul, there's a possibility you're going to annul your suffixes, and you have to start from scratch again. So I just choose to craft the last prefixes, and this is good enough for me. 550 energy is respectable. And for the chest, I'm just looking for like a triple T1 energy shield. Make sure it's not fracture, and make sure it doesn't have any influence. And you basically can slam, slam the Crusader External Orbs into the suffixes and to get the Crusader influence. And then what you're gonna do after that is just prefix gonna be changed. This is going to protect your prefixes, and then you can scour to clean the suffixes. And on this case, you want to block mana regen on the suffixes, and you basically slam twice and you pray to get like resistance or intelligence. In my case, I get really lucky and I get the maximum cold. This is pretty rare mod to get, and having the maximum cold on the shield basically it free up the implicit on the chest. So if you don't get the maximum cold, that's fine, because you can get +3 maximum cold on the implicit on the chest. But if you get them on the shield, and you can use the implicit on the chest for increased effect of aura. So that's a little bit extra DPS, but it's not like super strong, anything like that. So I'm just aiming for like intelligence and lightning resistance, and I will craft like double damage or like and some resistance if I need resistance. But because I hit the maximum cold, I just craft the strength and intelligence. This is good enough. And for the glove, the way I craft this glove is, first one, I look for fracture and shield on the prefix. That will make the last process a lot easier. And I'm basically spamming Essence of Insanity. This is going to guarantee the Sacred Gems have 16% more cast width. And you look for T1 Intelligence. And if you get the cast resistance, that's nice. But if you don't get them, you can try to annul it off. Or if you already have the slot open, that's going to be nice too, because you can just craft suffix can be changed. And then you go for Reforged Chaos. This Reforged Chaos is going to guarantee you get Chaos Resistance. You still RNG on the tier. You pray that you get T1 or T2. In my case, I have like 72%, so T2 is not that big of a deal, so I'm just settle with the T2. But ideally, you want T1 here. And for the prefixes, you can use add this annul. Just make sure that your Searing Exarch is dominant. So if you press Alt, the Searing Exarch modifier is the chance to unnerve, right? You want that one to be better than either of word. And that's going to make this add this annul orb only remove the prefixes. So you basically can just annul, slam, annul, slam until you get the T1 energy shield. And you basically just craft the last energy shield. And the boots, it's also pretty simple. This is just spamming Essence of Spite to guarantee the intelligence. And you're looking for double T1 resistance. And then on the prefix, it's the same thing using Address Order of Annulment. Just slam annul until you get the energy shield and you craft the movement speed. And for the ring, you look for the fracture cast speed. This one I fractured it myself, so I get pretty lucky with it. But basically, after you get the fracture cast speed or fracture intelligence, either of them is fine. But if you get fracture intelligence, you want to use Essence of Zeal to basically guarantee the cast speed, and you look for chaos resistance. And if you have fracture cast speed, then you want to spam Essence of Spite to guarantee the intelligence, and you try to get T1 chaos resistance. Now, there's another way to do it, which is a lot cheaper, with basically Reforged Chaos. This is going to guarantee the chaos resistance on the suffixes. The tier is still random, but you basically repeat this until you get the chaos resistance and intelligence T1. And you basically can stop there because the next step will be more expensive. Just put a little bit more energy shield, a little bit more intelligence. So the next step is you want to annul off the prefix and you want to annul off the fourth suffixes if the fourth suffixes is not all attributes. And what you're going to do is you're going to craft the modifier, and that's basically going to fill your suffixes. And then you want to craft suffixes going to be changed, that's going to protect your suffix. And then you want to reforge defense, this one, and you pray that you get energy shield, because reforge defense on ring you can get evasions or energy shield. So you hope for energy shield and a good tier. In mine, this is T5, and I already failed this multiple times, and I just get tired of it. So I'm just settling with the T5. I don't really care that much. And for the last suffixes, you just want to craft the all attribute, and you basically done for the ring. And for the chest, this is just a normal chest with like 3-1 energy shield, intelligence, striking resistance. And I do use the tethering orbs. There's an item called tethering orbs. This one. This is going to give enchantment on the chest, and one of the enchantment is increased ability of defense modifier. This is going to give you more energy shield. And there's 8%, 12%, and 15%, I think. The 8% is pretty common, but the 12 and 15 is quite rare. So if you want to use the tethering orb, just aim for 8. I think that's good enough. And if you have like a lot of currency, then go for 12 or 15. And I'm also using Mage Blood because this is a high budget build. And this is the reason why it takes me a while to make this video, because I want to craft the gear to be like a proper high budget setup. So the Mage Blood going to allow us to use a flask like this, and this is really important because we are using building of the Flasks. It's going to share the highest maximum resistance you have. In our case, it's cold. So I have 90% max cold, and melting of the flash will basically share that maximum into fire and lightning. But it only shares the maximum, it doesn't share the resistance itself. So you still need a lot of resistance. And the downside of the melting is really severe. It gets rid of a lot of elemental resistance. So having the Sapphire Ring and Beast Mode, and with additional elemental resistance suffix mod, it's basically going to give you a lot of elemental resistance. And you still need some resistance on your gear, like this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. But you do not need like a crazy amount of them, right? This one only have one resistance, this one only have one resistance, this also only have one resistance. So having the Beast Mode and Sapphire is really helps if you want to use melting of the flesh. And another new thing is I'm now using Ghost Reaver, and the combination of Ghost Reaver with the suffix mod 15% damage taken hit leads us life is really strong, because this life leech going to get converted into energy shield leech, and the maximum total energy reached per second is doubled by the Ghost Reaver. So Ghost Reaver plus this mod is basically just a lot of recovery, and you can push the recovery even further. It's going to increase the total maximum energy should reach per second on this one, and this one. And this 3 point going to give you a lot more recovery. And another new addition is also this one, Emperor Mastery. This is not really that necessary. This jewel is pretty expensive. So the difference between this jewel and the normal jewel with energy shield, intelligence, and strength and intelligence, you basically have the same amount of DPS, but Emperor Mastery give a little bit more energy shield, like 200 or 300 energy shield. So I don't think it's really necessary. I basically pay like 80 divine for extra 200 to 300 energy shield. I don't think it's really needed. And of course, because we are stacking intelligence, we are right now at 2400s. We're going to play a lot with like this kind of cluster where you have like intelligence, oral attribute, energy shield. So this cluster, the large one and the small one, is not really that hard to craft. So the way you craft this, you want to have the item level of minimum 84, and you want a fracture increase effect. And after that, what you can do is reinforce defense, and you basically keep reinforce defense until you have 2 out of these 3 mods. So if you, like, for example, like if you get much of energy and intelligence, and you basically just exhaust slam for the last one, and you hope to get the aura attribute. So the crafting is not hard. It's just really really boring. And if you see this jewel on the market, it is pretty expensive. Even in a normal league, it's still expensive because there are not that many people want to do this craft. The craft itself is not exactly going to be that expensive. It's just a lot of time and just a lot of pain. Just keep reinforce defense until you like get the mod that you want. So if you want to save cost, just craft it yourself. It's not that expensive to craft this cluster. And my cluster is not actually the best too. Like this one is like T1, T2, T3. This one is like T4, T5. I think this two is also like T2, Tier 3, Tier 5. This one is like Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. So my cluster is not perfect. And out of this cluster, like all of this 6 clusters that I craft, only one of them that have like triple T1, and this one. But the other 5 is pretty scuff, and the difference between like the triple T1 and T2, Tier 3 cluster is a lot. So there's a lot of room to min-max on this character, but I think I'm just done with the league. I'm just going to enjoy the league, like just play with the Reap while I can play with it. I think that's all for the setup. I don't think there's anything else. As usual, guys, if you have any question, just leave it in the comment below. I will try my best to answer it. And I think I'm done with Phrecia. I'm probably still going to play like a little bit, but I will have to start prepping for the new Poe1 league because they already announced it. I think it's going to be launched at early March. So I have to prep some guide for it. And if you come from Poe1, you tried out Poe on this Phrecia event, don't get scared by it because Phrecia event is like a hard mode. Normal league, I think, is a lot easier to do, and for me, it's a lot more fun. And you have a lot more control on like strategy and stuff because you don't need idle or anything like that. You have the Atlas tree to do the strategy. So I personally like the base game a little bit better, and hopefully the next league will be fun. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.